Okay. Hello, Sith Panda. Sorry about that. Um, well, and if anybody else is here, because I still haven't figured out where to see all my stream things, but I'm hoping we've got the video sorted out. Give me a shout and let me know if you can hear me clearly and if the video seems pretty clear. Hey, Sith Panda. I love the emoji. I gotta say, I'm still not used to Twitch's emojis, so every time I see new ones, I'm just like, oh, that's amazing, and then, yeah, mind gets blown each time. But that's pretty cool. It's a nice way to do things. Okay, perfect. Sith, can you tell me? So if I call you Sith, you sound like a Sith Lord, Sith Panda. Can you tell me? Oh, okay. Is the video fairly clear? There's no particular big issues with the quality of it or anything? I don't doubt that you are a Sith Lord. Sith Panda, the mightiest and most fearsome of the Sith. I mean, yeah. Okay, let's go see. I'm wondering if it's worth trying to set my webcam to be on again, or if that's just going to overload things again. Okay, awesome. Sith, that's a very good thing to... Yeah, I think I've just defaulted to calling you Sith, so sorry. The panda part is gone. Long live the Sith. Yeah, in that case, I might actually go see if I can add in my webcam, and then I can be all self-conscious about how I look. Give me 1 second. I've done this once before. There we go. Add existing. Whichever one you like. I'm quite happy. Oh, this one. No, I don't want me there. I'm too big. And now I'm covering things up. There we go. And I just need to decrease my size ever so slightly, because I don't really care to see me so much. Oh wait, I can put myself all the way over there. I think that's a good size. I can't decide. Okay, we will try for it there, and I'm sure that'll change at some point. Sith, I'm afraid I'm most definitely not American. I'm quite happily very, very far away from being American. As much as I have lots of lovely American friends, I'm quite happy to be something a little more exciting. Oh, so it is. Let's think how we're going to do this. No, not that one. This one. I'm just dragging everything around now. I'll get there in time. There we go. If we put it there, am I a little more... you know what, we'll just put that in the corner and make that even smaller than it already is. I was so proud of my transparent graphics on that. I should probably mention the Discord. And done. Okay, back to the game. And I keep forgetting. I was happily free of the webcam earlier, and I didn't have to worry about being self-conscious of that. And now, of course, I've got it back again. So I've got to be smiley and cheerful. And no, don't need to be smiley and cheerful, but I am conscious of the fact that everybody can see my face at least. So Seth, are you familiar with Astroneer? I was doing a nice little explanation of how things work in here. Well, I call it nice. You have to ask the others if it was nice or not. But if you need an explanation, I can... it's working! Well, the Anakin GIF isn't working, but the video is working, which I'm happy for. Now, I will say, if I could just find somewhere that shows me who's in the stream at the moment, or who's watching the stream, I don't know where to see that, and I really would love to. Maybe it's Twitch stats? There we go. Yes, I have 2 viewers currently. Okay. Doesn't tell me who they are, but that's still handy. At least I can know. If there's 0 viewers here, I know not to talk to myself. Alright, so Sith, as I was letting them know before, this is a kind of sandbox exploration game. Pretty similar to Minecraft, but as you can tell, it's quite a lot prettier than Minecraft is. The basic concept is I'm an astronaut on a planet, and I've got to explore and collect things and build up a base so that eventually I can create a rocket ship to get off this planet and go explore some of the other nearby planets. So there's no set story, no... Oh, I think there's achievements, but there's no set objective. Yeah, you just you do what you want to do. So if you decide one thing is more important than another, like right now, I've apparently decided that compound is... Ooh, can I pick that up? The most important thing to pick up, then that's what you can do. And if you decide to run into a cliff, you can also do that. It just gave me a moment there of thinking of Dr. Mick's motion sickness scenes, and I kind of wondered if I was doing the same there. You see the chat, if you click the little bullet list at the bottom of the chat, you can see which users are in it. Oh, Kodo, you're teaching me exciting things. And there's some bots that I didn't know were there before, but good to know. And Hoffman, yes, I turned down the bitrate, I turned down the resolution, I turned everything down, and it seems my computer likes that more. Coda, I think there's similarities with No Man's Sky. I'd say I've played a whole of maybe 5 minutes of No Man's Sky, so I would say like No Man's Sky gave huge hype and then was kind of a giant letdown when it didn't have everything it was supposed to have. Astroneer came out in, was it beta or alpha, or it was glitchy for a while, especially the multiplayer, but ooh, hello, don't know what happened there, but they've finally released in version 1 now, and it's quite nice. It's running very nicely, and there's no sort of promised, they haven't promised you the world and given nothing. In fact, quite the opposite. They kind of surprised us nicely with all the little features in this game. Yeah, well, Coda, at least when I see all the bots there, it makes me think that there's lots and lots of users joining the chat, so that makes me happy. Okay, I have all the compound I could possibly want, and now my head is suddenly going, I should go find that. So, by the way, compound is a very usually a very common resource, and you use it to do a lot of useful things with. Most importantly, I use it to make these little blue lines, which you can see connect to me, and they feed me with power and oxygen. If I run too far away from them, they cut off, and you can start to watch the oxygen meter in my backpack slowly slipping away. Kodo, I had such high hopes for No Man's Sky as a multiplayer game. Like when I first read about it, I thought it was going to be the most amazing game in the world. And then, yeah, it was a disappointment. So that was kind of sad. Did you put the lines down, or did you land in a museum with the safety ropes up to stop you? So they're not really safety lines. I can run through them as I like. I think I do interact. Oh, okay, I don't knock them over, but I can pick up and put down the lines. As you can see, I cut off all the rest of them so they don't have a power and oxygen connection anymore. And now they light up like a Christmas tree. But yeah, so I have in my backpack. This is my backpack, by the way. It sits on the back here, like a backpack would do, I suppose. I have these things called tethers, and I construct them using a tiny little printer on my backpack out of compound. So that's why I was hunting for the compound earlier. And so all I do is choose what I want to make in my backpack here. As if I want to make another tether bundle, which I always have use for them. So I'll make one for you. You hit the green button. And there comes my new tether bundle, which gets plopped into my backpack automatically. Now I've got 2.5 packs of them, so that's going to keep me going a while. I think actually Subnautica is probably one of the closest comparisons to this. Maybe with the major exception that this has multiplayer, and as far as I know, Subnautica doesn't. And I will say that the multiplayer in this is lots of fun. Plus, they have these glorious little emotes that you can do cute things like this. Hello. And I think that's like a command, like hurry up. And then my favorite. Oh, wait, oh no, they changed it. Well, I used to have it set up so that there's a whole bunch of pre-programmed little, they call them emotes, yeah, and you could do the funky chicken dance, which was great, but now apparently he doesn't know what the funky chicken dance is. But yeah, probably very similar to Dr. Mick in Subnautica. Yeah, so now at the moment I've collected a massive amount of compound, but I'll be using it all up pretty soon. Oh, God, that's a long way down. I haven't actually seen cliffs like this before in the game. But as far as I know, it's randomly generated terrain. I mean, it'll save what I've seen, but yeah, everything else is randomly generated. Coda, I was thinking about that earlier, and I realized I'd probably at some point get distracted by the chat and then forget to stand near an oxygen line. And then sure as nuts, I did that, and I heard a sound effect. I sort of went, that sounds familiar, what is that? And looked at the screen, and there was my poor guy on the verge of suffocating. But we made it, so I have a one-up on Dr. M there. My cat is coming to look what all the fuss is about here. He's talking to us in the background, I think. Don't know if he'll pick up clearly here, but anyway. So over there in the background is some yellow stuff, and that is resin. It's one of the basic ingredients that I need. You can see as I run out of tether line here, I just plop down a new pole, and I'm off to go find some more of that. The resin, that is. And here we go. Ah, no. See, I took too long to place that one, so you can see it's not actually connected. There we go. That satisfying sound of oxygen filling up again is great. Hey, Casey, welcome back. Yes, thank you. I played around with some video settings, did a quick Google search for how do I fix my video, and it gave me a whole bunch of suggestions. I implemented like 20 of them, so I don't actually know which one was at fault, but either way, it's working now. So glad to have you back. So the one big thing with mining this stuff is I only have so much space in my backpack. Actually, I'm just about to fill up now. So I need to run. Wait, let's fill up one more just to check. Yeah, wait, no, it went somewhere. Oh, it went up here. Okay. Now my backpack's full. Now I'm going to run back to base and start using some of that resin. Cheers, Coder. Oh dear. So now that the video is working, my mission for the next time I stream is to fix Nightbot, because clearly there's some issues there. I guess he's just a little oversensitive right now. No, Hoffman, no, he doesn't. He's just learning the ropes, i.e., I'm just learning the ropes. But yeah, Nightbot is learning the ropes. That's why. Okay, let's go see what I need to build. I think. Oh, I want a platform. Okay, so I'm going to start building my base. Although, let me just check. Not sure if I can build large platforms already. Oh, I can. Okay. Don't know why they bother with these medium platforms when you get large ones by default. Large ones are just better. Because reasons. What am I building on this platform? I've got a printer. I want storage, actually, so let's build some of that. So they're going to build their stuff over there. I'm going to pick up that resin I dropped. Oh, by the way, do you guys hear my keyboard at all? I'm using a mechanical keyboard, and I'm not sure if it picks up very well or very loudly on the mic or not. Peregrine, I'll be happy to provide him some therapeutic help. I'll just need him to sign some consent forms first, and that I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I can switch to my laptop keyboard because I've got it up here. Ooh, my laptop is getting quite warm with all the exercise. Yeah, I do think he meant the bot, but I think we can all do with some therapy, honestly. It's actually something, once I'm working again, I'll quite enjoy actually finding my own therapist as well. For now, because I'm not working and living off of savings, I think it makes sense to be a bit more budget conscious. Plus, I'm thankfully not in desperate need of therapy, but I do enjoy the process. So you saw those resources I was plopping on the ground just now. What I'm doing now is making some nice little spots for me to store those resources. So I'm just going to plop them in here. Oh, come back onto here and pick up a bunch of these. And my backpack's full. Yes, thank you, we know that. Well, Hoffman, I can say honestly, one of the things I love about my mechanical keyboard is that it does the whole RGB lights thing. Well, that said, my laptop keyboard also does it, but that's besides the point. I think in my mind, I think there's kind of a sort of gamer status attached to them, and so it's just kind of, well, when I first got it, at least it was sort of an exciting thing. I will say typing on them is quite comfortable, as much as it does make a bit of noise. It's the keys, like the feel of the keys is very responsive, which is nice. Feedback from the mechanical keyboard helps me from not typing too hard, and that helps with my... Oh no, Peregrine, carpal tunnel is sucky. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. I will say somehow I've avoided that, and I'm not completely sure how. But yeah, I feel like it's a matter of time before... Well, I mean, I do try to like keep good posture and all that sort of thing, but yeah, I guess there's only so much you can do, so... I kind of think one of these days I'll probably hit the carpal tunnel fun myself. What I have found is really cool is I've actually got a standing desk set up. I'm sitting at it right now, as you can see by the chair behind me, but I've got the whole setup here that I've currently got laptop and screen and keyboard and microphone and the whole work set up on. I can actually raise it, so I think... I'm just looking at, I don't want to mess up all my cabling. Actually, no, you know what, I'll do that the next time. Next time I'll set it up to a standing desk and then I can show that off. But it's really nice because then it puts like your forearms are at a good level and elbows are at 90 degrees and it really helps with the angling for that. Peregrine. Peregrine, what sort of programming work did you do? I'm an absolute amateur programmer, but and I've already switched back to the wrong keyboard. Yeah, I do like to dabble with. I'm actually busy trying to get through an Android development online course at the moment and procrastinating that away. Let's go grab some more resin. It looks like a lot of this stuff is sitting underneath me, but I don't want to dig myself into a hole just yet. Oh, there we go, and we've already filled it up. Let's carry this back to base quickly. So I will say, in the beginning of this game, there's a lot of running back and forth doing things, which is cute the first few times you do it, and by the umpteenth base you make, you sort of go, yeah, just let me get my car already. So you can print, I think they call them rovers and buggies in this game. You can print them out of a, not sure if it's a medium or a large printer, but then you can zip around the map a lot more efficiently once you've got that sorted. Okay, I was making medium storage, I believe. And we hit the button. I really like that they put it behind a little thing, like they put a little cover over it, just in case you were going to click it accidentally to make sure that you don't. Hoffman, I'm confused. What did you make? Made a few batch files and made a form in Excel. Oh, you mean your programming experience? Yeah, I will say I I do consider myself pretty handy with Excel. I managed to run my old practice off of Excel, which was really cool. But yeah, my actual can we count those as programming? Let's count those as programming, so that I can say my advanced programming skills are not all that great. Peregrine, I worked for Disney back in the .com boom. I'm the IT manager for a manufacturing company, although I was originally hired to be a programmer there. Oh, that's really cool. Geez, and for Adobe and Microsoft. I'm never sure, Adobe or Adobe. As someone who worked there, Adobe or Adobe, which one is it? But yeah, that's really cool. My thought was always, so when I went into the first year of university, I was so lost about what I wanted to study. Like I was interested in becoming a psychologist, but I was also thinking IT, and I was also thinking lab work and too many things. And then eventually I kind of thought, you know what, for me personally, I can always get into the IT thing later if I want to. Like I can teach myself and look things up online and do online courses. Whereas the psychologist side of things, you have to have the formal qualifications and registration. So I opted to pursue that route, and then if I decided I hated it, I could always switch over to something more IT related later. You pronounce the E, okay, so Adobe. It's just like, so when you talk about operating systems, there's an operating system spelt Linux, and for the longest time I was quite set on the idea that it was Linux. Until one day I heard, what's his name, Linus Torvalds, I think, the guy who originally developed it. But he was speaking about it and he referred to Linux. And I sort of had to check myself to go, well, if the guy who made this stuff is going to call it Linux, I should probably cave in and change the way I say it. Peregrine, I know that feeling. I think I'm decent at the Googling side of things. Although I will say, with this Android course, there was a point where they asked you to go and Google some of the coding that you'd need, and I failed pretty miserably at it. I ended up just watching more of the video to find out how to do it, and then they showed me what to Google for. So it was more about just knowing what to Google for at that point. But yeah, I guess that's half of what IT people do. Okay, I think I've just about mined out all the resin here. So, as much as I'm quite happy to switch chat over to IT and tech-related things, it isn't really the reason I made the stream. And I imagine there might be some people in the stream as well that are a little lost when it comes to talking about these tech-related things. Hoffman, you pronounce it GIF. It's spelt with a G. It's GIF, and it's graphics something. I always forget the thing there, but yeah, no, it's GIF. No one is ever going to convince me that you pronounce it as GIF. I'm sorry, that's just weird. Peregrine, I actually didn't know that. I've never seen Jif as a peanut butter. I'll be learning something new there. I gotta say, having moved to North America, grocery shopping here is a lot of fun. You guys have some really weird. Well, you guys. I'm assuming you're all in North America, but you guys in North America, those of you that are here, have some very weird products available in shopping centers here. What was I doing? I was building another platform. Oh, and a research chamber. Yes, I want a research chamber for all the research objects I haven't found yet. Yeah, I had a brain blank there for a moment. Brain blank was going to be a slightly different phrase, but I decided blank would be a nicer word. For now, we're going to do storage. Do I have more resin? Yes, I do. I just put it on the storage. I'm a clever one. Well, thankfully Nutella is available the world over. Although I will say I'm a little conflicted with that, because on the one side, I love Nutella, But my problem is I've since read a whole lot of nasty articles that basically say the process they use to make Nutella, and close your ears now if you don't want to have Nutella ruined for you. But yeah, apparently the process they use to make Nutella is like a really ecologically unsustainable thing. And so now in my head I'm sort of like, well, maybe I really shouldn't be eating Nutella, and that's just kind of depressing. So yeah, I haven't bought Nutella in quite a while, but I can honestly say I do love that stuff. If it's got sugar in it, I probably like it. I was going to ask, do they mainly speak Afrikaans in South Africa or English? Everyone I know speaks very fluent English. So, Coda, I'm actually an English first language South African. The demographics in South Africa are fairly diverse. So we have the most official languages of any country in the world. We have 11 official languages. It's not necessarily the most languages, just the most official languages. So English is one of them, Afrikaans is one of them, and then I'm not sure that I want to test myself and name all 9 of the others at the moment, but yeah, there's a lot of official languages. Most South Africans will probably speak at least English or Afrikaans along with whatever other languages they might speak. They're kind of so in most places Afrikaans is English is the language of business, with the exception of like the predominantly Afrikaans areas that might be a little different. But yeah, so I grew up in a small town that was mostly English speaking, and all around me was a whole lot of Afrikaans farmers areas. So the high school I went to was almost completely Afrikaans. So I'm bilingual. I was bilingual growing up. I speak more languages since then. But yeah, I speak English and Afrikaans fluently. Although an Afrikaans person hearing me speak will know I'm not Afrikaans first language, but I mean I can speak about whatever I need to in that. I think, if I remember right, I think there is a higher percentage of people that speak Afrikaans than there are who speak English, but the numbers are pretty similar. I think it's sort of 10% are first language English and 12% are Afrikaans or something along those lines. So it's, wait, actually, do I have those numbers right? Well, either way, it's small percentage numbers as first languages, and they're very close to each other. But English is becoming more and more popular, like especially as education is becoming more and more of a thing. People are emphasizing the English quite a lot more. A few of the universities that used to be Afrikaans, like primarily Afrikaans universities, are actually switching over to English, and it's causing a bit of a political hubbub for the Afrikaans speakers, but I think it was something that was bound to happen. Peregrine, you say the US has no official languages, and yet there's all those memes and internet things about people saying, when you're in America, you must speak American. And yeah, I always sort of shake my head at those. Coda, I don't actually know all the official languages for Singapore. I would assume they have. So I think English is their official language, like the government language, but then I would assume like Mandarin, and I'm not sure what else would be their main. I have been to Singapore, but I was only there for a few days on my way back to South Africa, so I don't know the ins and outs of the country yet. But yeah, I just like the tech topic, languages is something that I will happily ordinarily discuss all night because I love languages. I don't speak nearly as many as I'd like to, and the ones I do speak, I don't always speak as well as I'd like to, but languages are pretty awesome things. English, Tamil, Mandarin, and Malay. Yeah, Switzerland would be what? German, French, Italian, and English? I don't know. What's the fourth language for Switzerland? But yeah, I mean, every Swiss person I've ever met is just ridiculously bilingual at the minimum. I quite like that about a lot of the European countries, that people are often bilingual there. Now I'm talking so much, I'm doing very little. I'm not sure what I was trying to do. I was trying to fill this up, I think. This is going to be the slowest built base for all this talking I'm doing, but oh well. Peregrine, no, we're not. You know what? We'll have to have a conversation where we talk about languages and mental health. That'll I have to go do some reading on that one first. But it is actually there's some really cool stuff about languages and like the way people's brains function. So maybe it's not completely mental health. I'm cheating a little, but basically there's some cool stuff about how when you speak in a second language, apparently people are prone to being a lot more logical. Wait, I'm doing this. Speaking of logic, I should redo this. But yeah, so it's kind of cool to that. Like if somebody speaks two languages and you want them to be less emotional and more logical, you speak to them in their second language. They're more likely to follow a more logical thought process. Romansh, I've never heard of that. Huh. Connections between language. I don't know for sure about mental health. So I just saw an article about this not too long ago where there had been research for a while that was talking about people's worldviews and the languages they speak. And there was this idea that persisted for a long time that said basically, I'm running out into the wilderness here, and I know I have zero idea what I'm off to do. Right, let me turn around and sit at the base there for a moment while I finish this train of thought. That they said, what was it? That depending on the language that was like your primary language, that it had an impact on the way you saw the world, and they hypothesized a lot of things about, things to do with mental health and with intelligence, and there's all sorts of controversial stuff around it that wasn't really proved, but it was kind of a running theory for a while. And I just saw an article the other day that was apparently saying that no, that theory has been debunked. So yeah, I'm not too sure what to say about it actually. That thing about rewriting part of your brain and speaking out loud that person was talking about on Lowbro stream. I don't recall, Coder. Was it rewiring part of your brain and speaking out loud? Huh. So usually when people speaking about rewiring your brain, they're usually referring to a concept of neural pathways, which is basically the whole, obviously, there's electrical communication going on between different parts of your brain, and the things that you do more regularly, the brain creates pathways for them so that they can communicate with each other more efficiently. And so I guess my guess would be that concept is about like saying like practicing things you want to be regular in many forms. So when they speak about learning, for example, they say try to say it and write it and read it and in as many different forms as possible, and that'll help you remember it. So I guess it's something to do with that. Interesting studies about perception of color based. Yeah, so actually, Peregrine, in Japan, they often, as much as they have words for green and blue, so ao is blue and midori is green, they actually refer to a few green things as blue. So like traffic lights, they'll talk about a blue traffic light, even though it's green, like it's objectively green. You can go there and see the lights are very green, but they'll refer to a blue traffic light. Peregrine, I must say I've been on Lowbro stream twice or 2 or 3 times now, so I can't say that I'm completely familiar with that yet, but it's a fairly common concept of verbal affirmations. I think especially, I think he mentioned that he worked when, was it life coaching or something of that sort, but I think it's quite a popular concept there. Oh, sorry. Somebody just slammed a door downstairs and it made a noise up here. But hey, so I feel like we're getting closer to the mental health stream here. We've snuck in a little tiny bit of mental related stuff, I guess we can call it. And now to get to the mental health part, we'll get there. I'm just a little wary of forcing the topic and everybody's enjoying the conversation as is. Well, I am. And it seems like Coda and Peregrine, it seems like you guys are enjoying it too. And then for anybody that's lurking, I have no idea. Okay, you know what I need to do? I need to go decide what I'm building next. Because at the moment, I'm really just running back and forth and getting distracted with you guys talking about things and not focusing on what I'm doing, because clearly the game is more important. No, I'm kidding. I do want to figure out what I'm doing next, yeah. Is that a Dr. Mick Cheers? I didn't actually realize it worked that way. I thought those would only be available in his stream. So does everybody... I've clearly got a lot to learn about how Twitch works as a system. Peregrine, you can force the topic. Well, there's a lot of mental health topics that I like. I will say what I was trying to put forward earlier in my choppy stream. Is that how it works, Peregrine? Okay, good to know. What I was thinking of talking about was just the therapy process in general. I'm thinking I've got this kind of idea in my mind of eventually wanting to like break down a lot of what we do in therapy that helps people, because I really think there's so much in therapy that people can use in their everyday lives. So yeah, how about we talk about therapy? Yeah, Peregrine, I know it's my stream, but if I talk about whatever I want and nobody's interested in it, then the balance kind of fails. But yeah, I guess it does make sense to be directive in that. So yeah, let's talk about therapy, shall we? Just out of curiosity, do most of you guys have experience with being in therapy yourselves? I know I've been in therapy. Well, during my training year, we had to be in therapy for the year. And then I think the year before that, I saw a therapist for about 6 months. Primarily, in my mind, it was primarily because I wanted to prepare for the selection process for being selected to train as a therapist. But I did just figure out that it was a very useful thing for myself as well. Cool, Peregrine. Good experience, bad experience, just experience. You're welcome to say as little or as much as you'd like. Weirdly, I've only ever... So I've had... I've had 4 therapists in total. 3 of them were women, and I saw one for a little more than a year, and then I was off again for a couple of years, and then another 6 months I saw her again later, and the others I each saw for about 3 months each. I've once been to a male therapist, and I really, really did not like it, and I have no idea if that had to do with him being male or what, or me not liking male therapists, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, so I've done that, and I've had pretty good experiences with all the longer term. The male therapist I saw for a session, so I don't really count it as therapy, just went to a session. Casey, plenty of experience. That's really cool. Oh, and okay, so you've studied psych too. That's awesome. Neutral experience. You don't feel like you connected well. So yeah, I mean, there is so much research about the importance of connecting well with your therapist. So like I'm sorry to hear that you didn't connect very well with them. And hopefully, if you ever feel like you do need another therapist, you can find someone that you do connect well with, because I really think that makes all the difference. Even, working with my own clients as well, I think I've had the odd client that maybe hasn't connected all that well, but they've sort of forced themselves to work through it, or to rather stick through it. And I think it just doesn't work out very well in those instances typically. But on the plus side, like generally people will switch therapists if they feel like they're not really connecting, and yeah, that's probably the better way to do things. Casey, that's awesome that you like your therapist. So I gotta say, it's interesting to me because the type of therapy that I do, so I mentioned it earlier, but I'll repeat myself because that first stream we'll call a test run. I practice what we call integrated therapy. So I use aspects of a lot of different theories of therapy in my therapy process with clients, because I find that I to my mind, I can't really like not substantiate. What's the word I want? I can't make a good argument in my mind for the idea of only using one type of therapy with a particular client when there's so many different types of therapies that I could be using with clients, and they could potentially stand to benefit from many of them. But that said, my own personal therapy processes, I've generally found psychodynamic therapists have been my favorite type to attend myself. And the male therapist that I saw that I didn't like so much, he was more of what we call a CBT therapist, so sort of trying to work with thinking processes and assign you homework to work on, and a bit more of a, might call it a, in some ways, it might, at least you might perceive it as a bit more of a practical approach. And I didn't enjoy it for myself, but I much prefer offering that to my clients. And I've had a lot of clients that I think really benefited from it and really appreciated that approach. So I think it just depends on the person. But yeah, I'm curious for if you guys did have good experiences with your therapist, what stood out to you as like a part of the therapy process that really worked well for you or really seemed to be helpful or useful? Um, uh, let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking up some research. So, by the way, for those that don't know, in the game, you get to research things. So, I've collected 503 bytes worth of, I don't know, points to spend on research, and each of the things I could research costs a certain amount of money. Um, Peregrine, yeah, I think it's. I suppose in some ways I try to apply a lot of the more practical therapy types to myself. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard it plenty that other people have said to me that, yeah, and especially like colleagues of mine that and friends of mine that trained with me, a lot of them have said, they've found varying results with different clients liking different styles of therapy. One of the theories around it is we talk about people's readiness to change, and there's actually models around that where I can't recall the specifics of them. It was quite a few years ago that I studied those, but they talk about like different types of therapy that are suited to people depending on their readiness to change. Um, which is ironic because the psychodynamic therapy which I enjoyed receiving from my therapists is often cited as something that's well suited to people that are not completely ready to make big changes in their lives. So yeah, interpret from that what you will, I suppose. Um, Whereas I think the cognitive behavioral therapies are very much very much geared towards people that are actively trying to change. Um, yeah, I think my inner procrastinator doesn't like being told that I need to change. I'll rather sit and talk about the problems for a while until my head kind of figures out, okay, time to start sorting these out now. Hoffman, I don't know if any of us are ever completely ready to change, but at the very least, some of it comes to mind. But basically, they talk about, so a great example of it. They use the example of people working through addiction, and they'll say, some people are in complete denial. They'll just say, I don't even have a problem. I don't need therapy. This is a load of hoo-ha. And so those people, I think, if I remember the words right, I think they call it the pre-contemplative stage. So that's a nice euphemism. Basically, they're not really ready to be working on things hard. And so for those sorts of people, therapy that allows them to kind of be a little more exploratory in their approach to things and just just to explore whether or not they're happy with how their lives are going currently. It can be quite useful in helping them to reach a point where they say, okay, you know what, now I'm actually ready to start working towards a better life for myself. Most people in any type of health related field don't like receiving the services. Casey, I can understand that one for sure. I'm definitely far more comfortable offering therapy than receiving it, but at the same time, I have quite enjoyed most of my therapy processes, and I feel like done good work in them as well. So yeah. Um, so yeah, after the pre-contemplative stage, then okay, well, then surprisingly, it's the contemplative stage where basically there are people that are then considering therapy or considering making changes, but haven't yet made a commitment to actually doing something practical about it. And then there's certain types of therapy that are indicated for those people. And then further along the scale, getting more towards the people who are sort of ready to make change or in the process of making change. And it's one of the models that talks about which therapeutic approaches might work best for particular people, and it predicts that depending on their readiness to change, different types of therapy will work for them. And that's kind of, I guess, that's kind of what I like about about integrative therapy, is that you get kind of the best of both worlds in that. So I've just had a pop-up that says Dr. Mick is online, and I actually thought he was offline for this week until later in the week. So I'm thinking it might not be a bad idea to cut things short here and switch over to there, because seeing as most of us are Dr. Mick viewers, I don't really want to steal viewers away from him. I'm quite happy to run my stuff at different times to him, but I thought he was offline, so I thought it would be a great time to come online and do something while there wasn't a therapist online. So what do you guys say we switch over? Oh, hi. How do I do a raid? We could raid him with a whole, 7 viewers? Yeah, I just had a pop-up that said that he was online now. Although, yeah, no, my Twitch says he's online, so maybe we should switch over to there. Coda, I don't know why he is, but shall we switch over there? Yeah, I see it says just chatting, and my Twitch says he has 0 viewers on at the moment, which doesn't seem very like his stream. Okay. I think I'm quite happy to take a break. Quite happy to take a break anyway. And I'm glad we got everything sorted out for the first time. Very happy you guys were willing to come hang out with me. Songs of Healing. Thank you so much. That is a perfect note to end the stream on for tonight. I really hope you didn't just show up now. But yeah, let's switch over to Dr. Mick. If I knew how to do a raid, I would totally do that. Wait, type raid. Do I just type it in the chat? I'm confused. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So I've typed that into. Thank you, Peregrine. That's kind of you. Shall we? God, this is. I'm so. My head is so confused that we're raiding his channel rather than the other way around. I always imagined it might happen the other way around. But I'm going to hit the button, and I have no idea what we're going to do when we get there, but let's do that. Thank you so much, guys. And I'll take a look at his stream schedule and try to sort of angle myself around that relatively well. But yeah, I'll have a stream schedule out in the not too distant future. Thanks, guys. Have a good night, and I'll catch you at his stream. Off we go. That's really cool. And go. Okay. Now I'm assuming I can stop my stream. Let's do that.